What fact sounds fake at first, but is actually real? Iran arrested 14 squirrels on suspicion of espionage. Nigeria once arrested a goat for stealing stuff in human form. Some other African country arrested someone for murdering a human in hyena form. The day Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire was the exact middle of his life. To the day. A Russian luxury SUV manufacturer attempted and failed to use whale penis skin for their SUV interiors. When compasses were first used on ships, sailors were afraid of them because they thought it had evil powers. Compasses were stored in boxes called a binnacle. I mean, that's like the first form of navigation. I'd be spooked too if a little piece of metal inexplicably pointed me to something. The Nazis were the first ever people in modern history to start an anti-smoking and tobacco movement, or being from Scotland, and finding out the national animal is the unicorn. Orcas are a natural predator to moose. President Coolidge got sent a raccoon for Thanksgiving one year, but instead of eating it, he granted it a pardon because it was cute. A typical cumulus cloud actually weighs 1 million pounds, 951 kilograms. That's a lot of cumulus. You can fit about $4 billion worth of plutonium into a shoebox, but not for very long. It takes 2 years for a pineapple to grow. Have a pineapple plant in my yard. Can confirm. It's now year 4, and it's about to bear second fruit, and you only get 1 pineapple. Ancient sailors believed that cats were magic and would often risk their own lives, even in an every man for himself situation, to save a cat from a sinking ship. All ships had at least one ship's cat, as cats would eat the rats that have always plagued ships. The ship's cat would often be given a rank, and sailors would generally take excessively good care of their cats. There isn't a single bridge across the Amazon River. There was a week in American history where Tim Allen had the #1 film, TV show, and book. The entire state of Wyoming only has 2 escalators. Cheetahs can't roar, they meow like house cats. Jack the Ripper was still active when Nintendo was founded, but they were just a card company then, correct? A common ingredient in chemotherapy is horse sperm. Of course, listed under some long medical term. I used to deliver 100-pound tubes of it to companies that make the drugs. Netflix was founded before Google. Distance from USA to Russia 4 kilometers. This fact is always amusing. The 10th president of the US, John Tyler, 1790 to 1862, has 2 living grandchildren. The Ethiopian calendar is 7 years behind the rest of the world. Edit. Yeah guys, it's still 2013 there. Someone should really warn them about this coronavirus, so they have 7 years to prepare. Pocahontas and Shakespeare lived during the same time. The US and Russian military employ dolphins as part of their marines. That's because they fail miserably in the Air Force. There used to be a species of parrot native to what is now Kentucky and Tennessee. Damn, KFP killed them all before moving on to chicken. Sanders was just a lieutenant back then. Every Canadian is allowed to get a free Canadian flag from the government. However, if you ordered a flag today, you would get it in about 110 years. Astronomer here. The coldest place we know of in the universe is actually on Earth. To explain further, the coldest places we know of that naturally occur in the universe are inside dark nebulae with little to no star formation, and thus no starlight to heat things up. The coldest one known so far is the Boomerang Nebula. Link. Wikipedia. org/wiki/boomerang_nebula, where the temperature has been measured as low as 1 degree above absolute zero, 270 to C or 458 F. However, we regularly get below this temperature in labs on Earth. Specifically, absolute zero is at 273, 15 C, or 459, 67 F. and labs on Earth regularly get to within a tenth or even a hundredth of a degree of that. Pretty cool. Conversely, the hottest temperature in the known universe now was also recorded right here on Earth too. We hit 500, 000, 000 degrees C in the Large Hadron Collider when colliding lead ions. The only thing we think might have been higher is the estimated temperature when the universe was a few quadrillionths of a second old. Stop signs used to be yellow. In 1922, the American Association of State Highway Officials met to determine a standard design for stop signs. And that's where they decided on the color yellow because they thought that would grab drivers' attention. They'd also considered red, but there was no dye available at the time that wouldn't eventually fade. By 1954, sign makers had access to fade-resistant porcelain enamel and could finally start making stop signs the red color recognized today. You can fit all the planets in our solar system touching end to end between Earth and the moon. One 10-inch pizza is more pizza than two 7-inch pizzas. There is no date between the 3rd of September 1752 to the 13th of September 1752. Check out the September calendar of 1752. 11 days are missing in the calendar. This is due to the fact that we converted our calendar from Julian to Georgian calendar on 2nd of September 1752. The founders of Adidas, Adi Dassler, and Puma, Rudolf Dassler, are brothers. And their HQs are literally next door to each other in Germany. Edit. Wow. 7k upvotes. Best dig out my Adidas tracksuit and Puma trainers. The Panama Canal runs primarily north/south. And the Atlantic side is further west than the Pacific side. The previous owner of the company Segway died from driving a Segway off a cliff. That most of the oxygen on Earth doesn't come from trees. It comes from plankton in the ocean. Dinosaurs never ate grass because it didn't exist yet. Sharks evolved before grass did. So that's why sharks don't eat grass. The Holy Roman Empire still existed when the US was founded. The sun is so loud, if space was filled with air instead of being a vacuum, we'd be hearing screeching sun noises at 125 decibel at all times. So in that Rick and Morty episode, the screaming sun was actually fairly tame by comparison. That the United Kingdom once indirectly funded an invasion of itself. During WWII, the Polish army had a brown bear in their ranks. The bear was really helpful to the force, particularly for carrying heavy artillery. After the war he lived his retirement at the Edinburgh Zoo and has his own life-size statue in the Prince's Street Gardens. The bear was on the payroll of the Polish army as well. One horse is actually 15 horsepower. I shove 20 horses in my car. The combined weight of all the ants on the planet is greater than all the humans. There was a USA Gov program to communicate with dolphins while under the influence of LSD. One young female researcher actually used her hands to sexually pleasure a dolphin during that program. She only did it because she was so dedicated to science. And high F. Sprouts, broccoli, green/red/Savoy/Chinese cabbage, cauliflower, kale, kohlrabi and bok choy are not of nature's design. All of them are cultivated by humans from the mustard plant. In his 19-year career in the NBA, Shaq only ever made one three-pointer. The average density of the universe is 1 proton in 3 cubic meters and the average temperature is 273 Kelvin. The entire modern biomedical industry is dependent of a fixed supply of horseshoe crab blood. There is a city in Turkey called Batman. IDK if this is already here, but Greenland extends further north, west, east, and south of Iceland. During the Cold War the US had an idea to drop XL condoms labeled medium all over Russia to make them think they are more manly. If Titanic had had more lifeboats on board, more people would have died. There are lots of unique factors that go into this, but the simple version is there was no time. Titanic's crew acted incredibly quickly as soon as it was known the ship had no chance of surviving. Preparing these massive, heavy lifeboats for launch and lowering them takes a lot of time and effort. Despite their efforts, the last 2 lifeboats were floated off deck. They needed every available second to launch the boats they did have. Titanic had no time to launch more lifeboats. If there had been more boats on board, they would have been stacked, which would have added time to the already laborious and lengthy preparation and launch of the boats. They also would have been stored on deck, which would have added to an already crowded, chaotic scene the night it sank. Check out my subreddit /r/rms_Titanic. The tragic thing to me is that many of the first boats that were launched went out with way too few people. Most of the first class passengers on the boat deck weren't convinced that the situation was life-threatening and got tired of standing around in freezing temperatures in their pajamas with life jackets on. So they went inside where it was warm. One of the boats had a 40-person capacity but left with just 12. And after the ship foundered, they refused to row back into the chaotic mass of struggling victims to save anybody because they were scared their boat would get swamped. Lego is the largest producer of tires in the world. There are more trees on Earth than there are stars in our galaxy. That the Niggly Wiggly is the little piece of paper that extends out of a Hershey's Kiss chocolate. There are more people on Earth than rats. I mean, honestly, how many people can you fit on a rat? Over 56,000,000 people died during WW2. The scientific name for a gorilla is gorilla. The yearly risk in the US of dying from a shark bite is around 1 in 250 million, and the yearly risk of dying from a vending machine accident is roughly 1 in 112 million. Therefore, vending machines are about twice as deadly as sharks. That's why I never swim in vending machine infested waters. Disney is the second largest buyer of explosives in the world. Maine is a closet US state to the continent of Africa. North America is almost entirely west of South America. Technically they could be called East and West America. A lot of the earliest war gods were actually goddesses. It takes about 3 to 4 generations before your entire existence is completely forgotten, assuming you don't invent the cure for cancer or discover the 5th dimension or anything like that. Humpty Dumpty was never an egg. There is no mention of him being an egg in the rhyme at all. It is believed that Humpty Dumpty was actually a cannon on a wall, which was destroyed. Joseph Stalin was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize twice. Because the number of possible combination of genes isn't infinite, there are probably at least 7 humans that looks the same as you. Pumpkins are rarer than diamonds in Minecraft. There's a type of worker ant that will kill itself by exploding to protect the colony if it feels threatened. They produce a glue-like corrosive substance that can paralyze and kill enemies. The US government kidnapped and experimented on its own population. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.